April and October.
In the handover notes to the incoming Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u was not mean with details of where the shoe is pinching Kenya, lifting the lead on the issues crippling the economy and other critical sectors in the country. Among the areas highlighted by the former Treasury head is the education sector, which is funded by at least 34% of the national budget 2024-2025. From concerns raised by the Auditor General, so broken is the funding model that non-existent schools receive capitation and actual schools underfunded.
The current education funding model is not sustainable and has to be reformed after a very comprehensive auditing process.
Of the 187 schools sampled, JSS enrollment stood at 29,653. However, capitation only catered for 22,313 learners, leaving out at least 7,340 learners without funding. Ndung'u recommends a relook into the education model way down from the basic to university level to conform with economic realities.
There are some people who came up in other ministries giving us some figure of money we lose every year because of this capitation. There is a major issue. But if you want to get a glimpse of it, talk to the Auditor General.
Ndung'u is also of the opinion that the government should think again about its debt repayment policy, citing that the current revenue generated is not enough to service the national debt, highlighting this area for his successor to deeply look into.
Debt levels and debt burden cannot be sustained by the current revenues. Total revenues stand at about 16.5% of GDP. And the target for this 2024 was actually 18.6% with the finance bill that is not there. So it means that those revenues may not be realized.
The former Treasury boss was also keen to note that Kenya's domestic borrowing strategy of Treasury bills and bonds is untenable, saying it's creating liquidity challenges with some state departments struggling to even sustain their salaries.
These liquidity constraints requires strategic options to avoid them creating a solvency challenge. This requires a very strong signaling approach.
The rot in form of budgeted corruption extends to ghost workers and pensioners. Professor Ndung'u is calling for government urgency in eliminating the vice that has been siphoning the taxpayers by linking IFMI's and KRA's payee platform.
This has been resisted, I must tell you. The PS and I have been working on this. And we have been working with some of our staff. But it has been resisted. But it has to be done to clean up and eliminate ghost workers in public workers and even pensioners.
With some loopholes and suggested solutions already established, the incoming Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi takes up the ministry amidst sharp criticism of the government's tax policy and pressure on the cost of living. David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.